Meeting to order. We're going to have a prayer led by Mr. Pulling, and then the Pledge of Allegiance is going to be led by Mr. Hicks. And if everybody would please stand.
Our Heavenly Father, we come to you this day, asking you that we do your people's business. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, thank you for coming tonight, and we'll start off with the roll call. And I know Mr. Lemming is on his way. He texted me, he had a meeting that ran over.
Ringgold.
Here.
Caudell.
Here.
Hicks.
Here.
Kitts.
Here.
McWhirter.
Here.
Scott.
Here. All right. Next item on the agenda is the auditor's report.
You have your usual reports if you have any questions. I also have given you a friendly reminder that the audit questions from the State Board of Accounts needs to be answered and returned to them. If you haven't received them, for whatever reason, just let me know. I've also given you a Form 22 to show the tax distribution from the spring settlement. And I provided you with the information concerning the must that we'll have to look into at some point.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes.
Let me ask you one question.
Yes, sir.
On the distribution for the taxes for the spring, under circuit breaker losses, we do have the estimate there, 3.1 million. That's what the DLGF gave us at budget time last year. Have you seen the updated, I think it's probably April 26th, they gave a new figure for us, what the actual is?
I will look at that.
It's like, I want to say 2.6, 2.7, it's less than this, so it's to our advantage that was less.
I will look at it.
Yeah. That was it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. McClure. Next, the approval of the minutes, and this would be actually from our May 20th, 2026 meeting.
Mr. President, nobody has any corrections. I move to approve as prepared.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Do we have a second?
A second.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Brinkle. Any questions or changes? Anybody notice? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, under new business, we have Grant County Recorder Kathy Floyd.
Hello.
Hello.
I have two requests. I got two projects going on that I need some additional funds for. So I'm asking to move $70,000 from my CISP fund into my service agreement, and then additional appropriation from my Perpetuation fund into that service agreement fund.
What's driving that in the service agreement fund?
I'm sorry, what?
And what's driving that's changed, I guess, to make the request?
Oh, because I got two projects going on.
Okay. And that's projects that you're doing?
Digitizing.
Yep.
Yeah, so far we have digitized 94 years. So this money I'm needing is for the company that's indexing. And where they're doing like the path, like from 1900 to 1950 indexing, deeds and miscellaneous. So there was a lot of them, so I need one moved in there. And I don't even know if I have enough. I might have to come back next month to get some more transferred.
How much is digitized on the later years already? Any?
I didn't bring them.
Are we halfway through that?
Yeah, they're almost done.
The transfer from the KISS fund, $70,000, that takes up almost all the balance. It's 73.5. So
Yeah, I believe it's $1 per document that goes into that fund, and that fund's to be used for like digitizing it, for redacting social securities or any information that's not public, mainly social security.
Could you have actually spent it out of that fund without transferring it to the perpetuation fund?
I don't know, that's another question.
I mean, I don't mind you transfer it. You can transfer it. Just, if you could just spend it for that fund, you wouldn't have to worry about the transfer.
Exactly.
But you mentioned you might have to have more money in next month. You don't have much left in that fund once you do this transfer.
No, I mean for my perpetuation.
Okay, you made appropriate additional for
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
These requests are non-general fund dollars, so.
It's all perpetuation.
It's fee driven.
So I'd entertain a motion at this time.
Mr. President, I make a motion to accept as presented.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lemon. Thank you, Mr. Scott. Any other questions or further discussion? Any questions or anything from the audience? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is Grant County Health Department.
Good evening. I'm presenting on behalf of Dr. McAdams this evening. We have $15,000 in Health First Indiana funds, which was the state funding we received in 2024 that has been unexpended. The state has contacted me and asked that we get those spent fairly quickly. We had a community agreement for $35,000. They only used 20. The contract has expired. So I'm asking if we can have that appropriated into our educational supplies. We would like to just fund our Safe Sleep program, our school health liaison, our environmental division would like to do some rodent and extermination education. Just asking if I can appropriate that into our educational supplies fund. Be happy to answer any questions you have.
So that involve like marketing materials and.
More educational, like our in Vital Records, she gives Safe Sleep sacks to every newborn that comes in for a birth certificate. It's just, we have some really terrible Safe Sleep numbers and fatalities amongst our infants in Grant County. So it's just kind of trying to provide that education and gift them some items that they may.
Those would be literature documents.
Safe Sleep sacks, our environmental division would like to provide some bed bug prevention items to families that can't afford to get rid of the bed bugs. It's expensive stuff. We would just like to use these funds for that. Our school health liaison provides hygiene supplies to students that can't afford them. Just random items like that.
Any other questions? Chair would entertain a motion.
So moved, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brinkle.
Second.
All right, thank you, Mr. Caudell. Any other questions or comments from the council? Any questions or comments from the public? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda, we have Grant County Sheriff.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the council. Thank you for having me here tonight. Obviously, you received our requests on using some of the opioid fund to create a position that will be a coordinator for our drug programs in the jail. The Marion City Council, Marion approved a grant for us where they pitched in $50,000 to do that. So we're partnering with them, and what this coordinator will do is they'll basically coordinate all of our programs, not just drug addiction. But probably the most important thing, they're going to do assessments. I think that's something that's been needed in our jail, so we can kind of really see what the population of our jail consists of. And as they do their assessments, if they see the individual has mental health needs, then this coordinator will direct them and get them the help that they need. If they need drug addiction help, they'll put them in the right program for that. Right now, we're looking at, that's going to be one of their main priorities. And we just think that that's been a missing part of what we've been doing. Someone that can kind of see the big picture and help direct our inmate population to get the help that a lot of them need. And like I said, we partnered with Marion. They approved a grant for us, and we're just asking for the commissioners also approved for us to get the opioid money. So we're just coming to you for final approval.
So this is a new position. We do not have this position currently.
That's correct.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what board or what body or group has approved using the opioid funds for this purpose?
Well, Marion's opioid, I don't know if they use a board, but they had a board that took grant applications, and we put in a grant application for it, and were approved by their board to receive it. The Grant County Opioid Board approved it and made a recommendation to the commissioners for their approval. We went before the commissioners and they approved it.
Is this something you initiated? I mean, this is an idea that you say, let's try this and see what happens?
Yeah, we've talked about for years of the issue we have with opioid addiction in Grant County. And I believe that this can be something that could help us with recidivism issues. We're currently in the process of starting what they call JCAP, which is Jail Chemical Addiction Program. In our jail, we're going to start it at a very small, with a very small group of inmates, because we have to be able to separate them from general populations. But this coordinator will be able to coordinate that. They'll be able to do the assessments to see if the addiction's a problem, or to see if it's a mental health issue or a co-occurring deal with them. But we also have programs like MRT, moral recognition training, that some of our inmates go through, thinking for a change, seeking safety, celebrate recovery. We also do GED in the jail. And then we have a chaplaincy program that we're starting, additional programming within that program, that this coordinator could say, hey, this might be a good fit for this inmate. QCC, our health provider, currently does our MRT. But the JCAP program will be peer supported, and the way Wabash runs theirs is through volunteers. So we're hoping to model ours after theirs. And not only are we wanting to do that, but we're also wanting to make sure that the coordinator is able to keep a database to track success. Because I think unless you're tracking success on your program, you're just kind of spinning your wheels. So we want to make sure that they're able to do that. And also, they also help coordinate or assess inmates to see if they're qualified, and work with probation on the new pretrial home detention program.
And you did mention it went to the commissioners already. They've already approved.
Is there any program documentation, what this looks like, job descriptions?
Yes, we actually have a job description for the, I'll pass that around, but I'll email those to you. It's something we've been working on for quite some time, trying to get that started. We do believe it's a big part of the puzzle for us to have just one person that coordinates all that, instead of trying to have different people do different things. I think we have people kind of get lost in the shuffle when that happens. So if you can have that point person to do that, I think it would help make those programs more successful.
Is this someone on staff that's going to move into that spot, or somebody from the outside new?
Actually, we're wanting to hire someone that has that's certified to do assessments. I mean, we just don't want someone to come in that's not certified. So it'd probably be someone from outside the department. We want them to have some letters behind their name, right, that can actually do the assessments and help place these individuals where they need to be.
So would they place them then in our programs that we currently
Yes,
have?
yes. So that, because sometimes you may have co-occurring, right? Is the mental health caused by the drug addiction, or vice versa, or is it both happening at the same time, right? So we need to have someone that can coordinate that. Say, no, this is a legitimate just drug addiction issue. We need to get him or her into JCAP. Or no, this is a mental health issue. We need to provide services through Radiant Health. And this person will be able to do that because they're certified to do those assessments. Now, QCC does some assessments for us, but they're not here all the time. So that kind of a hit and miss with them. But this will actually give us two people to do that because Kelly Miller, who's employed by QCC, our medical provider, she's also certified to do assessments. But like I said, she comes here once a week to do the MRT and things like that.
So are we looking for somebody with like
At least a master's degree.
at least a master's degree? Where would they be housed?
We have an office right there that's in our offices that's available.
You don't see like supplies or anything. Should that be included or?
No, I think with what we budgeted, I think we're going to be good. Obviously, it's a new program, so there's going to be some things that we maybe have missed. But I think we've kind of looked at this on what our main need is. And this would cover some supplies. The grants would cover some supplies, whether it's books and things like that for like the JCAP program. But we think we've got it all covered within the budget.
I mean, I think we're heading in the right direction, looking at treatment,
Right.
And programming. I would like to see some documentation that backs up what programs specifically are they utilizing? What does it look like when they do make that evaluation, they do make that assessment, kind of how that is all going to flow.
And that's one thing that we've been missing is a documentation portion of some of these programs, especially when it comes to being able to track those who have gone through the program, because we want it to be successful. We want to know is what we're doing the right thing? Is it helping people? Because if it's not, then obviously we're just wasting our time. So we believe that it will help, but we believe that tracking is a big part. And that's why the person who's in charge of this will be in charge of also keeping a database and running those numbers and tracking people that go through it.
How soon would they be able to get started?
Well, if this is approved, we're going to look at starting to do interviews just as quickly as possible. We think that it's something that's been needed, and we want to get going as quickly as we can.
Is there any of that documentation out there as far as program goes?
Yeah, JCAP is a program that's used by a lot of different jails. We went to Wabash to kind of get some ideas from them, and we actually do have a pamphlet that I'll make available to you on how their program works. Because not only do they do drug treatment, but they also do life skills. So for 8 hours, this group of people on this program will have classes, whether it's drug addiction classes. They also have cooking classes, how to handle your finances. And those are all done by volunteers within the community. Now, when we went to Wabash and spoke with them, one of the things they told us is that they don't have as many resources as we do here in Grant County. So, we don't believe we'll have any issue finding volunteers to come in. I mean, they come in and I don't know how we're going to do yoga, but they actually have someone that comes in and does yoga. And the way the program works, it's if they're doing well, they get awarded for it, right? So over there at Wabash, one of the things that they can work up to is like getting a microwave in their cell block so that they can pop popcorn or whatever. So it's all, and we really want to do it like Wabash, because Wabash, there's no incentive from the courts. So, if you do this program, we're going to cut this amount of time. People that are in it because they want the help. And that's what we want to do, because talking to some of the inmates there in Wabash, they were telling me that in prison, it's all based on, if you go through their programs, you get cut time. So he said, I mean, one guy said, heck, I've been to prison 3 times, and I would just do it because I knew I was gonna get time cut, and I'd come back, get back into the same routine. And it helps them build a foundation, and they have resources to go to when they do get out of jail, and they do get put in those situations where maybe that temptation comes in, that they can call someone on the phone that's gone through the program with them, or that's leading the program, and they've been pretty successful with it. So that's who we kind of want to model it after, because I think they've had some success with it.
So do judges then order each participant?
Yeah, the judges will have to. Yeah, the judges will have to be a part of that. And we've talked to the courts here already. We've talked to Judge Spitzer, and he's on board. And we're just waiting to get the position approved and being able to start.
Assuming the position is successful and is effective, you're looking to use opioid funds long-term to fund it, I'm assuming, is that right?
We're looking at, what we're going to do, part of their responsibility too is to look for grants, other grants.
I'm going to say, because we're normally not adding positions to our county employee staff at this point, but I know there's substantial money in that fund right now.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a long-term thought.
No, so we would do it through opioid money as long as we can, but we'd also like to find other sources of revenue for that position to keep it going.
Like I said, I'm supportive of any help that we can get to these defendants that's coming through our jail. To me, I'd like to see that documentation and how that program works and flows before hiring the coordinator position. I mean, is it something that we can? Like I said, I'm supportive of it.
Well, here's
can we work over the next month?
Here's kind of to go with the job description, and I'll get that to you guys, kind of what they're going to be in charge of doing. But yeah, I mean, that's fine too. I mean, we can get that information to you. Like I said, we want to get started as quickly as possible, but at the same time, we don't want to start too quick and not do it right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we can get that done, or get that stuff to you.
I appreciate everything you presented to us. If we can work toward getting that, and I'm maybe speaking out of turn, so I get a little bit excited when it comes to finding these treatment programs and what we can do for the defendants. I don't want to speak on behalf of everybody else, but I think if we can work towards getting that documentation and that flow and that information, and come back next month with even more information.
Yeah, that's fine.
How it all looks, you know?
Right.
That way we don't miss out. We may miss out.
And I think the job description will kind of point out to you what it's all going to entail with this position, and it'll give you some time to kind of chew on that and see what you think.
Right.
We want to get started quickly, but not too quickly either. So we want to make sure we take our time, and what we do it right.
So do we want to readdress next
If
month?
that's the pleasure of the council, we can do that.
That sounds good. Then we'll just table it till next month and we'll bring it back. That way then we'll get the copy of the job description and everything. Appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it to us.
No problem.
And I think you still got one more item on there too.
Yes. And this is a replacement vacancy for a work crew leader. City of Marion pays for that position. So we need to try and replace that position.
I'll move for approval to replace the vacancy.
Thank you, Mr. McCord.
Second, Mr. Go ahead.
All right, second by Mr. Brinkle. Thank you. Any questions or comments regarding that? I know I would just have a comment. The work crew, saw them today at a property next to one that I own, and I was glad to see them own it.
I tell you, they work hard. They save the city of Marion a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they work hard. And what I do want to, this is kind of a pre-approval because we probably won't hire them until August, but we wanted to get pre-approved so that as soon as, I think the guy's official last day is the 24th. So as soon as he's gone, we want to make sure to be ready to, and we are bringing on a retired guy, so he won't have to go through the academy and all that stuff. We'll just be able to plug and play and put him in that position.
Anybody else? Questions or comments from the council? Any questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Next item on our agenda is Grant County Treasurer. April, and is it Legare?
Legare.
Legare.
Yeah.
Hey, I would.
You did okay, though.
Yeah, I got your first name right.
You did. Good morning. Good evening, gentlemen. I'm here to formally request your permission to fill the full-time vacancy in my office.
All right.
I know we've had prior discussion on this. I will approve that we give the official,
All right.
or I'll make a motion, we give the official approval on that.
Thank you, Mr. McCord.
Second.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lemming.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Can I ask that you retro it back to Monday?
Back to Monday.
Yeah.
That's the,
Okay.
what's the date you're talking?
Yeah.
13th.
13th?
Yeah, that's the official
fine.
day she started.
Okay.
July 13th.
Effective July 13th.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Anything from the public? Oh, Mr. Whitfield set me off. I thought somebody was coming. All right. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is Grant County Commissioners, Mr. Middlesworth.
Good evening, gentlemen. We have an additional appropriation request that was pre-approved regarding the D-home chiller replacement. It's roughly $304,220. We're requesting that to be approved this evening. It's been advertised a couple different times now. It is on order, and we're looking, I think, the end of August to have it installed. It's going to be some downtime regarding that, 2 to 3 weeks roughly, without the detention center having AC. And so we're coordinating with that building, as well as trying to figure out if there's some other space. If the Resolve Tech's wanting to install it during the season, that way we can make sure it works prior to the end of the year, which makes sense. So we're coordinating with those that are responsible in that building.
Okay. Does the air keep up now or no?
It's keeping up pretty good right now.
Yeah.
We've spent some money to get it to work, but it's an old unit. It's roughly 29 years old. Most of the coils are closed shut. The oil, I know they've added some oil and some Freon. So it's at its end of the life. But yeah, we're keeping up. Like I say, it's going to be about 2 to 3 weeks to install it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Don't want to install it this week, do we?
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Hopefully it'll cool off in August, but who knows?
Yeah, kind of the thought is just a little bit of a thought on where we've moved up the fire suppression system within the Salem Bank building. And so if that gets done in a reasonable time, there may be some space on that first floor to accommodate some offices or cubicles, or, to maybe they work in the morning in their office, and if they need another place to work, we'll be accommodating. But definitely puts a burden for that building.
I'm not meaning this as a jab, but would you have fans then over there if they're working, if the AC's not working and they're...
As long as the fans are grounded and approved by the maintenance department, I'm sure they'll be allowed.
Okay, just that way you're working with them, because I don't think you have enough space prepared over there for everybody to move, or?
No, not yet.
Okay.
It's going to be one of those things that we just going to have to coordinate.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
Yeah, when you were explaining it to me, I thought, I'm glad you're doing that, not me.
I think it's one of those things you learn being in the commissioner's seat when you do major renovations, whether it's at the courthouse or any of the other buildings. Where does everybody go? It's not like your house where you can stand and work around things, right? It's a major problem.
Yeah, well, thank you. And you're going to do just the courthouse security viewing station as well?
You want to go ahead and discuss it as well?
We can just do both of those together then.
Okay, yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and request the courthouse security viewing station in the amount of $6,892.96. As you know, the steps were opened on the south side of the courthouse. That viewing station is directly for that metal detector and the security guard that resides there. Gives him the option to view all the cameras and make sure that both the basement and the first level have the same capacity when it comes to viewing the cameras. I know it's costly. I Even if that was to be shut at some point, I believe there's other places that we can use that viewing station, so it's not a total loss. And again, that was Mr. Glickfield that closed those doors. So yeah, the two requests is all I'm asking for this evening.
Okay. I guess the chair would entertain a motion regarding the D-home chiller replacement at 304-220 as well as the courthouse security viewing station for $6,892.96.
So moved.
All right. Second. Thank you, Mr. Scott. Thank you, Mr. Lemming. Any other questions or comments from the council? Anything from the public regarding that request? Hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I'll move on to the second request this evening, is a replacement of vacancy within the general fund. We saw pre-approval, as you know, the VSO has resigned. We did hire Adam Kratzker effective 7/13. He was the part-time VSO, and right now in the VSO office, they're going through some major paperwork, I would say, regarding the property tax piece. So it's important to make sure that there was no lapse in services regarding the VSO. But I just want to publicly thank Mr. Kilgren. He was a great VSO, and some undue circumstances resigned. And I just appreciate his service to our county. And he did help a lot of veterans. But yeah, look forward to working well with Adam Kratzker.
All right, the chair would entertain a motion regarding the replacement of the vacancy.
So moved.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lemming.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Any questions or comments from the council?
You get an effective date on that, or you're right?
7/13.
7/13.
Anything else from the council?
I would just, for the record, make sure that it's at the advertised budget salary amount. I don't have that with me, but I know Mr. Kilgren was taking a lesser amount. He wanted to the actual salary amount that's in the salary ordinance, I believe.
Anything else related from the council? Anything from the public? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have Grant County EMA. Oh, okay.
Good evening, Mr. President, council members. We are here this evening to ask for the approval to hire a replacement for our deputy director who resigned June 30th, effective June 30th. So as you know, we're a two-person operation and we go 24/7, 365. So it's a bit much for one person. So we're just asking for the approval to fill that position.
I'll get permission to approve that.
Thank you, Mr. LaPorte.
Vacancy.
I'll second that, Mr.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brinkle.
You have as soon as you can get one, is that what we're talking about, effective whenever you get one in, or?
We are. We're in talks with the commissioners, maybe to look at that position and looking at some leadership development. So really want this position to be long-term. I think it's the best for the taxpayers and really the best for the.
So I guess it'll be effective as when they get the hire done, so.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Anything else from the council? Hearing none. Anything from the public? Hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Next item on our agenda is BW Construction with the jail project discussion.
Good evening, council. I'm here to introduce BW Construction. I'm here on behalf of the Grant County Commissioners to respectfully ask the council to authorize the financing construction of a new county jail. No one takes this request lightly. A county jail is one of the largest investments a county can make, but is also one of the most important responsibilities we have. Indiana law requires counties to provide and maintain a safe, secure, and adequate jail for all those in custody, the correction officers who work there every day, and the public we serve. This is simply not about today's inmate population. It is about preparing Grant County for the next generation while protecting the taxpayers from significantly greater costs in the future. As you know, across Indiana, counties with aging, overcrowded jails have found themselves defending expensive litigation over county jails. Wabash County, Henry County, Howard County, Gibson County, Vigo County, Allen County, and now Monroe County have all faced legal action involving overcrowding, inadequate classification, staffing, sanitation, aging infrastructure, recreational space, and inmate safety. Several ultimately agreed to construct new facilities or were required to develop comprehensive correctional plans under court oversight. Grant County is not immune. Grant County is already defending litigation involving jail conditions. While the county disputes those allegations, it demonstrates that our jail is already being scrutinized. We should not wait for broader litigation or a federal court to dictate when and how we solve this problem. If we act now, Grant County controls the process. We control the size of the facility, the design, the financing, the timeline, and the cost. If we wait until a court action requires us, those decisions will no longer be ours. The council has already recognized this. Over the past 4 years, Grant County has invested substantial time and resources into 2 separate jail projects that each reached approximately 90% completion in the design process. Last year, the council also adopted the 2/10 correctional rehab local income tax, establishing a funding source to address our long-term correctional needs. Our current jail has operated beyond its intended capacity for decades. A jail is at full capacity at 80% of its full capacity, well before every bed is occupied, because inmates must be separated by classification, medical needs, age, gender, and security level. The legal responsibility to provide a safe and constitutional jail belongs to Grant County. The question is not whether we will address that responsibility. It is whether we will do so on our own terms or under a court order. The new building, option 3, also provides space to extend rehabilitation, educational programming, mental health service, and re-entry efforts. That means we are not simply building a jail, we're building a facility that improves public safety by helping reduce future recidivism rates while meeting our constitutional obligations. Tonight, you'll see 2 carefully developed options that allow Grant County to make that decision locally. At this time, I'd like to turn the presentation over to BW Construction to present both proposed jail projects.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good evening, Mr. President, council members. Appreciate you having our team here again to discuss the jail project that we've been working on for the last several months as we've been under the scoping period with this. So tonight, I have the presentation screen. have some copies here that I'm happy to pass around to you. I think you might have them. It's in the packet, probably. It's in the packet? Yeah. If not, there might be a little.
It's probably the same one else in the third.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was at
You already have it.
tables. It was
Is that
at
the
the
table?
tables.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
there's the extra. So the goal tonight is really two presentations. The first part of the presentation is to focus on the three options that we've put together over the last year or so, with the option one being the D-home renovation and pod addition. Option two is just an alternate to that for the existing pod that's over there, the 46 beds, making sure that is functional. And then option three, as Commissioner Middlesworth mentioned, which is a new build option for a new jail facility. So tonight the goal is to talk about what we've done since we were in here in February at the joint meeting where we presented the initial option 1 and 2 GMP with a budget for option 3. What we've done since then, review those options, answer any questions on scope and GMP, and then I'd like to turn it over to Joshua and Maxwell to discuss financing and funding options as they've put some stuff together for that as well. So since February 25th, when we were in here, what we heard in that meeting was we had the 2 GMP options and a budget for the third. Was to go back to the jail committee, get a recommendation, and potentially do some additional work to answer questions and dial in what has now become option 3 with a new build option. So we did that. We met with the jail committee meeting to get consensus of what we were doing, and then we spent the next 2 months taking option 3, the new build option, and refining the necessary design that we needed. As to remind everyone, option 3 is taking the Hancock County Jail that was built a handful of years ago and utilizing that design on the site here in Grant County. So we updated that as necessary, and then we went to bid with subcontractors to determine that GMP. That was sent to everybody on May 29th with the price of $69,897,000. And it brings us to the June Commissioners meeting where the Commissioners voted on the resolution for the BOT to bring both options to Council for your guys' recommendation to go back to the Commissioners for action. So here we are tonight with 3 options that we have in front of you. Option 1, as a reminder, is the renovation of the D home with the addition of a 352-bed pod. The price was approximately $56.6 million. It's a new housing pod, updating intake and booking, new lobby, new kitchen, laundry, full MEP upgrades. And option 2 is an addition of the existing pod, updating that with new systems, new roof, and making those 46 beds usable for the jail. That is would be option 2, 61.8 million, and would give you 398 beds. Seeing these plans here showing the pod addition to the existing D home, general site layout that it identifies where that pod would go in relation to the jail, and then the budget, which we'll get to more here in a second. Option 3, as I said, we've taken that Hancock County design, updated it, and projected what it would be on the site by the highway garage currently, Northway Road site. That total GMP is $69.9 million and would be a facility that would have 469 beds. Everything would be new: housing, intake, booking, sally port, kitchen, laundry, the jail administration. It will also include classrooms, day rooms for programming and rehab, as well as the proper classification of inmates. And it includes shell space in the second floor between the two pods. This is the first floor, but the second floor in between the two pods is an open shell space, which during the finalization of the design, if this is the option that is approved, we would program that space for the sheriff's administration so that it could be planned to potentially be done with this project or built at a later date. So separating sheriff's administration from jail administration. The current facility plans have all of the necessary administration for the jail to function.
The 69.9 million, though, does not include a sheriff's office then?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. We do feel with the shell space there and the space needed for a sheriff's office that during design, we could plan that out and price it up. And as we've talked about the contingency and how that's used within this budget, we feel confident that we think that as we get through this project, there should be savings from the contingency that could then be reallocated to build that. And the goal would be that we get this done with the sheriff's administration space there within the current GMP budget.
So am I seeing two pods now on this?
Yes, yep. So there's two pods. One pod is, the pod on the bottom there is all dormitory space. The pod on the top, which is about half built out, is cells. The other half is shell space that can be programmed for additional day rooms. And if you take that plan and extrapolate it out, would be an additional 116 beds that could be built there. Or it could be used for something else. It's shell space. They could put a slab in there, utilities would be in there. It allows for future opportunity and growth built into the facility already.
I read somewhere where there was a per bed. Here it is.
Yep. We'll get into the side by side.
So $156,000 per bed. So if we were to convert that other half, basically we would take 156,000 times 100 and how many? 16.
Yeah, that would be a rough estimate. If you said, hey, we want to do that now, there's probably some economies to bring that price down. Obviously, the more beds you build, that number is a little more efficient. If you came back and did it as a separate project later, probably going to be more expensive than that average cost.
So about 17 million plus.
Yeah.
I took it 150,000 per bed.
You could put dorms in there though too, right?
Yeah, it's currently planned for cells, but you could do dorms. Dorms are typically 15% cheaper than cells, roughly. So side by side, these are the three options that we've taken through the design process. Option 1, 352 beds. Option 2, 398. Option 3, 469. The reason we've separated out the rated from the specialty beds are the holding cells, the padded cells, medical additional beds that are separated from the general population. Couple key points in comparing all of these, as was discussed. Obviously, when we look at the renovation option, one thing that we have to consider is you currently have people occupying the D home. And that would have to be, people would have to be moved for the construction of the D home renovation. Unlike in option 3 with the new build, there's no relocation of staff. Timeline's relatively the same in terms of construction time to build all of the options. Next page is the budget comparison. So you can see the direct costs, highlighting the various contingency buckets for each option, and then ultimately the total GMP for consideration down there at the bottom. Highlighting the contingency, as we talked about in February, that was asked a couple times about what that is and why it's there. Ultimately, we're presenting design that's not yet fully done. We're about 90% on the D-home, a little less in percentage on the option 3 because we haven't fully designed the site, which brings up a point of flexibility on a potential site. If the highway garage site was not a preferred site for a new one and there's other land the county had, that could be relocated. But the contingencies there, it'd be a very open book, transparent process as to how that ultimately would get used throughout the process. And then any unused funds from those contingencies or any other allowances that we have within it get returned to the county at the end of the project via a deduct change order. Questions that we've heard, there's been plenty of questions over the life of these design process. Some recent ones that I just wanted to hit before we answer any other questions as it relates to scope and options. Question, what happens if the county wants to choose a different site for option 3? That was asked during the commissioners meeting in June. We have planned out the site at Garthwaite Road. We've not invested into a full civil design, so no real money has been spent there. So the budgeted amount that we've put together between all of the site work, utilities, asphalt parking and stuff totals about $3.7 million of the 69.9. If you said we want a different site, we don't want to put the jail out there, the intent would be to take that as an allowance, and then once we determine the site and design it, we'll price it up and compare it to the $3.7 million. So you're not losing anything by saying if you wanted to move it to a different site. It just becomes a timing thing because we need to know which site would be approved if this is the option that is ultimately selected. I was also asked during that meeting if the county could reduce the cost by self-performing some work or supplying materials. The answer to that is yes. We would work with the county if there's something that can be done to save money. We want to do that. So we would work together to figure out what those could be and how those get coordinated within the project. The plan for sheriff's administration space in option 3, we've talked about that here. The plan for rehab and programming, again, that's the two options. The biggest difference is the amount of space that you get other than just beds. The space to classify the inmates, to have the classrooms and breakout areas where you can have programming done to rehabilitate. And I think the biggest key there is, I know some of you in the past were able to tour the Hancock County Jail and speak with Sheriff Burkhart down there. They were in a much similar position to Grant County 6-7 years ago when they did their project. Overcrowded issues in a downtown site. They chose to build this facility that's currently designed out of downtown. And as of today, their jail population, because of the space they have, the programs that they can do there, it is less today than it was the day they started the project. So they've been able to reduce their overall jail population by having that space available to do those programs. The other question that was asked recently that I heard was, what is the cost of demolishing the existing jail if needed? We have not budgeted that in anything, but in looking at the jail from a very high level perspective, the estimates from our team were in the range of $600,000 to $800,000 for demoing the existing jail. Not knowing how that fully ties into this building and utilities there, wanted to just give some information because that was a question we've heard. So with that, I'm going to stop talking about the scope and GMP and Before we go into the financing and funding presentation, are there any questions as it relates to both these options?
What about warranties on maintenance-related things, whether it be infrastructure or structure of a new build or an add-on? What timelines or guarantees, savings can we look at there in the new construction?
Yeah, so, I mean, typical process, after we are substantially complete with the project and we've transferred that facility back to the county, there's a 1-year warranty that is typical for most construction projects. Obviously, there's various components within the project, rooftop units, roofing, other things that come standard with additional manufacturer's warranty. Those will all be, reviewed and determined during the design process as different things are chosen. And then, the process that we do is we will also commit to walking through the facility for the next 3 years after that warranty period with the team that built it to make sure everything's still working accordingly. We did Delaware County Justice Center, and it opened in 2020. We just had our team out there 2 months ago dealing with some issues that had come up and taking care of those. And we didn't charge Delaware County to go do that. We want to be long-term partners with the county where we build our projects. In terms of comparing options and costs between renovation and new from a warranty or other perspective, the goal of the renovation is, the systems are getting updated to new systems, but not everything in option 1 and 2 is getting changed out in the D home. It's still an old building that needs work. We think all of the systems will be current. The roof will be new. It'll look as if it's a brand new facility, but it's still, the structure of it's still however old the facility is. So,
was there any utility study or analysis done to look at old versus new on those several options to see if there's any savings in new construction versus renovation versus existing? Did you guys get into the weeds on that?
We have not got into it from a electrical usage and other things.
Yeah, all of it combined.
No. Okay.
I'm assuming because that ground is in the county. So for out there of the 69.9, what is being done as far as utilities? I'm assuming there's going to have to be some infrastructure upgrades out there.
Yeah, so the utilities, there are utilities there. We've talked to the power company, we've talked to water and sewer. Gas City, I think, according to Commissioner Middlesworth, is committed to potentially help bring additional sewer and water to the site. Of course, if they bring utilities to the site, that would help reduce some of the costs that are in there, because we do need to upgrade the mains that are serving water and sewer to this facility.
So if they bring it, is that their expense or our expense?
If they're offering to bring it, my understanding is that's their expense, and that would reduce this cost.
You don't have any estimate on what that would be to bring it?
I don't have that. No.
But you've included a cost for that work in your estimate.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's within that 3.7 that I mentioned.
Is there anything else that could come up that you can think of? So I have the demo of the old jail could be a cost. Converting the other half of that pod, I don't know if we need it, but just thinking ahead, right?
Yep.
And then housing sheriff administration, we don't know what that cost would be just yet.
Yeah, sheriff's administration is the biggest thing. And rule of thumb there, I know we're not going to build a Taj Mahal office, right? Simple and efficient. Let's say they need 5,000 square feet. The shell's already there. You're in the $100 to $200 a square foot. So $500,000 to $1 million, we could probably build a simple office area there. Anything else that can come up? Obviously, there's costs that we don't have figured because we don't know of relocating people out of the D home for construction. There's a cost to that. I feel like we've thought of most things as we've looked through this, but But I don't know. Do that.
Justin, let's assume that we build on correctly and we demolish this existing jail. Can that sheriff's admin area be saved?
Within the existing jail?
Well, is it actually within the jail or is it a separate little? I mean, so if we demolish.
Potentially.
So if it can't be saved, then we don't have much choice but.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, the goal would be to have the sheriff's admin space within the facility. Are there facilities out there that don't have the sheriff's administration in the jail? Yes. It's an operational thing. The people that operate the jail day to day are their space is in there. We haven't studied the demolition of this. That was just something that was asked recently, so we said we could put that together as a high-level estimate. And it's something we could study further if necessary.
I don't think it's a cost on our end, probably maybe not even our worry, but I mean, the city of Marion places more defendants in that jail than anybody in Grant County does. And I don't know if anybody's ever thought about the time that Marion Police is going to be spending going back and forth. And there's going to be a cost to that at some point in time to somebody, but probably not our worry, so.
Yeah, that sounds like a city thing.
Right.
City things become our things eventually.
Sometimes it seems like they do.
They do.
It could be some of those prisoners we have questioned about, maybe they won't come out there.
A deterrent.
I'll take more questions if they come up, but I'd like to introduce Josh Janik with R.W. Baird and Maxwell Adams with Barnes & Thornburg. They're here to talk through the financial summary of funding options and what that looks like.
Sure. All right, my name is Josh Chinook. I'm with Robert W. Baird. We've engaged to serve as underwriter, provide the financing for the potential project. I do have a printout. I have an extra page on here though that is different, so if I could just pass this around real quick. So I'd like to focus first really on this, will be your first page in the handout that was just passed around. So this is really a feasibility and affordability analysis. And I'm happy to answer any questions about this, but this contemplates the local income tax that you enacted, the term for it that we use called a jail lit. And this feasibility analysis uses the most expensive option that Dustin just discussed. It's the new bill for what's called the $70 million, the $69.9 million new jail. So that's the project funding that we're looking at for this feasibility. The beginning payment for that, beginning in year one, where you start paying, the bulk of the principal, is $4.1 million annually. So we use this in many different local income tax financings. Is we'll use some sort of revenue projection to basically show the council that, hey, this is what you're getting in local income taxes, and as incomes grow, you can expect this amount in 10, 15, 20 years. So the average growth between 2020 to 2025 for Grant County has been around 5.75% a year. So you can expect between the last 5 years, you've grown just between 5 to 6%. That's how much more local income tax the county is receiving. So for our analysis, we'd like to be pretty conservative about this. And I don't want to give you a number that you say 5.75%, what if it's 4% next year? So we decided to go very conservative and do 1.5%. So well below, the 5-year rolling average, just as a conservative estimate. So that gets us kind of down to this tabletop. So you have on the left, you have the payment dates. So those would be the fiscal years on the left. You have your jail local income tax, which starts at $3 million, and we use that growth factor of 1.5%.
Oh my. Hopefully we can mute them.
Hey, Marcus did.
So we use that growth factor on the jail lit of 1.5% annually. So that's that second column. The third column here is the operational savings, is what it's called. It is our understanding from the county that you've been spending about $1.1 million annually to send inmates to other jails. Is that still an accurate figure, approximately? Okay. So that's the operational savings that you would receive by doing the new jail build. And then to the right of that in the bold here is the total project revenue. So that combines your jail local income tax you can receive every year with the 1.5% growth factor and the operational savings from a new jail build project. So you have those total revenues. And then to the right is what we call our coverage analysis. So where it says the 2026 lease rental payments, that is basically the bond payments. So annually, that's how much you would be paying to pay off the bonds for this project. And then to the right of that is the excess revenues. So there is a slight excess in revenues annually as those revenues kind of continue to grow. The reason we do that is you don't want to, do a hard one-to-one coverage on any financing, because what if for 1 year you have a little bit smaller growth and you don't want to it's meant to be very conservative. I will say that the first 2 years have those are blank, and that is because we're going to use those excess revenues for two purposes. One is for the bond payment in year one, and then the other will be for construction funding. So those would be, you'd use those excess revenues as you have them for those two purposes. Now, you really wouldn't need much to pay down the bonds. As you can see in year one, the total project revenues is that $3 million figure. And the lease rentals or the bond payments is $1,076,000. So you'd have a pretty significant excess there. The next year, though, your total project revenues is $3,045,000, and the bond payment is $3,447,000. So it used a portion of those $2 million of excess revenues that you're receiving this year to cover that gap of $447,000, and then the remainder can either be used as kind of a backup plan in future years, or you can use it for construction funding. But this kind of proves the feasibility for you that it really is an affordable project. You have a very conservative growth factor in here to be able to structure this and tailor it to something that is affordable if you decided that this is a project that was important to you. So I'll stop. Let me stop there for a second. Do you have any questions on this sheet?
I got a question. One of your points at the bottom says jail lit no longer subject to the expiration date based on SDA 1.
Yes.
I was under the understanding that the point 2 that we currently have for jail purposes would be encompassed or encapsulated into the 1.2 max we have beginning in 2029. So you're saying that point 2 is outside of that 1.2?
It is not. It's a part of the 1.2.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
But it's kind of going to be in perpetuity. So
the point is that that's not an extra point 2 we have.
It is not.
There. Okay, I wanted to make sure that's what I thought. I wanted to make sure that's the way it was.
That's correct.
Because reading that made me think I had extra.
No. So all counties in Indiana are going to be, the most you can levy in local income taxes is 1.2%.
Well, the way that was stated, I thought, well, maybe we've got an extra point 2 there. So, okay. All right.
So originally it was stated that the expiration was like either 20 or 25 years once the lit was implemented. So that is not correct.
That is not correct. With SCA 1, that's changed. So it's going to be kind of a large bucket starting in 2029 of all these local income tax revenues.
But whatever tax rate we encompass into 2029, we'll have to include this amount.
Right.
It's not an extra, like,
Right.
when I read this, that may be a little bit of a.
And that was something that, yeah.
That's not it.
You thought it was inclusive, and I said, well, I thought it sat outside it, and you're correct.
Yeah.
As usual. Jim, that word is correct.
Well, I was kind of hoping we'd get that.
Hoping you were
extra.
wrong, yeah, but no.
Okay.
So if I'm looking at this correctly, because the public doesn't have at least this sheet. So the total payment is $138,241,000, which would mean at the $69.9 million, interest payments would be $68,341,000.
Approximately, correct, yes. Yeah, with the, because this is assuming a 30-year borrowing, so yes, that's correct.
Did you do a look at a 25-year? Did you put together a schedule for that?
So that is one thing I was going to discuss. So if you were to do the new build, I think a 30-year is probably the most prudent and wise decision, just because you're giving yourself the flexibility that you need to really size the revenues correctly. If you wanted to shorten it, we'd have to find some more payments or more revenues to use to pay for it.
I did a quick amortization schedule. I think if you use 25 years, it'd be like annual payments of $4.7 million. Does that sound?
That sounds slightly low.
Does it? That's what I mean. There may be some extra things, but just a basic amortization, that's what it would come out to, using 69.9 as the principal. So there could be something that may be a factor there, but just using that as the number, and I use 4.5% interest.
See, for 25 years?
Maybe a little higher than that.
A little bit higher.
Okay. I use
That's
4.5.
probably where the difference is, because it would probably be on average just a little bit higher, not a ton.
I think
really.
it's 4.65 in here.
Okay, that could make a difference. I use 4.5 when I did my schedule, so that could be a difference.
Yeah, and that might be on the other sheet you have, that there are kind of a draft schedule there of what it would look like for each. Yes.
But you're right, obviously the 30-year, puts it within that number, but 25 would be nicer if it could.
Is there penalties for paying it off early?
So there's definitely options for that. The way municipal bonds are structured, it's different than, in a lot of ways it's similar to a mortgage, in a lot of ways it's different. So a mortgage, you can basically buy your home, and then the next year, if rates have gone down a whole lot, then you go in and you're like, I have a 6%, now I want a 4%, or whatever the rates may be at the time. With the municipal bond, you typically pick a call date when you actually go out to sell the bonds and lock in the financing. And typically that's between 8 to 10 years. So you would have the option to start paying it down earlier, or you could refinance it and drop the payments similar to how you would a mortgage.
I may have to disagree a little bit with the feasibility of this, but the jail that was implemented, in my opinion, behind our back. State legislators implemented this jail behind our back for this sole purpose alone, which to create a revenue source specifically for the jail. I don't know that it necessarily makes it feasible in that sense. For us to have to implement a tax this large to pay for something like this, but I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, so it was really that we structured and tailored the payoff to match the anticipated revenues of the county.
Yeah.
You pay additional principal?
You have to wait until that call date, so 8 to 10 years. Yeah. So in that case, let's say that you continue to have almost 6% growth in local income tax, and 8 to 10 years, you could start paying that down since you'd have so much excess revenues. Because really this jail lit is meant to be used solely for as you mentioned, it's meant to be used solely for jail and related facilities. So that is what the state wants you to use it for, and that's what it's meant for. Next page here, I guess to go back to one of your questions though, is that if we could shorten it to 25 years, if you did choose a the option 1 or 2, so the project funding would be lower, you could have a shorter payoff. It would look very similar to this because you still want to use, the goal here, I think, is to maximize those revenues because that's kind of what they're used for, especially for the next several years. But you could shorten the final maturity of the bond if you chose a lower project fund or lower construction amount. Next page here, this is kind of an estimate here, and we've kind of gone into this. We have to discuss SCA1 a little bit. It's kind of the dark cloud, but this is kind of an overview of what this looks like for specific to Grant County. And this is an estimate because I'm projecting what it could look like in 2029 with basically today's incomes, which is very difficult. So hopefully the amount that you're seeing here is actually significantly higher. But right now, Grant County, the total local income tax rate is about 2.75%. And the county-wide lit revenues is just under $44 million. So underneath that, I broke down each local income tax revenue source between your certified shares, your property tax relief credit, your jail rate, your special purpose, and your economic development income tax. Below that, I also have your supplemental lit revenues. So the total local income taxes that the county is receiving for pay year 2026, and this was just certified recently, is just under 16.4 million, 16,376,000. So if the county decided that you wanted to go to the full amount of a 1.2% local income tax, you don't have to do that. This is going to be your decision on what you want to do. But using today's figures, you could expect close to $19.2 million. So it'd be close to $3 million more than what you're seeing right now if you wanted to levy the full amount. So I say this as we're projecting local income taxes, your jail lit revenues, using that growth factor. This is kind of what it's going to look like in 2029 when you're going to be having this same discussion in 2028 for 2029, saying, well, what should we set our local income tax rate at? Well, one of the discussions is going to be if you decide to do a jail project is where you're going to have to go to fund operations, and you're going to want to have some for economic development, and you're going to want to have enough to pay the bonds for a jail facility if you do the project. So this gives you an idea that you could receive more than what you're receiving right now by about $3 million if you were to enact the full amount. So hopefully that helps, is giving you an estimate of what it could look like in a few years. And I know SCA1's been kind of brutal for everybody, but at least maybe this is a little bit brighter of a picture. You will at least have a choice, and it could be better than it is now.
As of now, we have that choice. We may not have that choice in 2 years.
That's right.
But we did a calculation last summer. I think it was roughly, I'm going to say just about 0.8 is what it would take to break even, so that makes sense. I mean, this analysis.
Yeah. Are there any other questions? The page you all have in the packet, this gives you kind of a rough estimate of, we have the renovate part of the existing D home. It's this page, I think you have in the packet. And it has really just the project costs and the annual payment you could expect, and also the interest cost or the interest rate that you would pay. So for 20 years, 4.34, 25 years, 4.65, and 30 year, 4.88. So that gives you just kind of back the napkin. Now these aren't like tailored like the ones that I just discussed. It's more of like give you kind of a general idea of what an annual payment would be.
Jim could probably answer this question, but you're standing up there, so I'll ask you. I think I know the answer anyways. But we have roughly $6-7 million bond left on the current jail.
That's right.
We pay 5.9. We just continue paying that in the same capacity. It doesn't get rolled over into this, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, I looked at that today, Mike, actually, I've got my paper here, let's see. At the end of this year, it'll be $5,925,000 of principal due remaining on that bond issue.
That sounds right, because I think I saw it was like $6,180,000 right now.
Yeah, the original issue was 8.5 million, and we'll be down to 5,925,000 at the end of this year on principal issue.
And it goes to 2030.
December of 36, we can pay it off. December of 36. And right now we're paying roughly, let's see, where is it? I wrote it down, $690,000, almost just over $690,000 a year now on the payments for that, out of debt service.
It's kind of like that Barry Bonds contract.
Yeah, don't think about that. Yeah. Or Juan Soto or somebody. Don't think about that. Bobby Bonilla, you're thinking.
Bobby Bonilla, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad news. You don't want that.
We're still paying that while we would still be paying.
That's correct. That's correct.
The one positive there is, well, I don't like it. It is a separate, it's debt service fund. It's not part of general or the lit. It's outside of it. Yeah, that is, in my opinion, one of the black flags in this whole thing. I don't like that one. It's there. I mean, bottom line is it's there.
All right, I'm gonna turn it over to Max. He's got some more information on the, kind of the approval process of what it would look like, so.
Good evening, council members. My name is McAdams. I serve as bond counsel for this project, representing the county. I don't have too much more I want to add. I mostly want to be here for questions. Sort of the two things that I've been sort of asked to talk about were the approval process for the bonds, as well as the BOT process. So the BOT process, you know, if we move forward, if the council votes to move forward on this project tonight, with either of the options that we have, we'll begin the process of sort of negotiating a BOT agreement with VW. We sort of lightly started that process, but really kind of wanted to wait until tonight's meeting or the subsequent commissioners meeting before we start, negotiating that in earnest with VW. But that would be the next sort of step in that process. Depending on what the back and forth is like between the county and VW, that could be anywhere from a few weeks to 2 months-ish, I would assume. Good news is, the numbers that have been presented tonight, those are guaranteed maximum prices. So numbers would be negotiated, just be, the nitty-gritty of, delivering the project, all that sort of stuff. In terms of the bond approval process, it's July 15 today. If we started in August with the approval process, we're looking at about a 3-month process to get through all the approvals between the commissioners and the council. I won't go into, sort of the, step-by-step what we need to do, but, cliff notes for the council is that we would be here back in front of council at least twice for approval. One to approve the project itself, that's, in state law, but also to make the appropriations necessary. Sometimes other things come up, other approvals come up during that process, but those are kind of the two main council approvals that come up. So we would, if we started in August, that would get us to first week of November. We'd be through all the approvals. There'd be additional time for pricing in the market, kind of that whole process, the pricing and closing timeline that we sort of, we'll start during the approval process, but can't really go out to market until we have all the approvals in place from the county. So it'd be like a November, December closing time frame once we got through all those approvals. But happy to get into any other questions. Happy to get into any other questions you may have on those two items.
We'll reserve the right to ask later.
Of course, I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all we had planned from a presentation standpoint. There's no other questions. Turn it back over to you guys for discussion and decisions.
Right on.
All right. We appreciate it.
Yep, thank you. I know I've, spoken out already. I think everybody knows where I'm at. I think the 69.9 million on Garthwaite Road it isn't really inclusive of all the costs. Now we don't have a full sheriff's department out there. And utility costs, we don't really know for sure how much they are, how much they will be, if Gas City's gonna pay for it. I think the word potentially was used, not guaranteed, definite. And the project too, by going to the 30-year financing, now we're at $68 million in interest to fund a project, which is Grant County taxpayer money. That's, out there, out somewhere else. So I continue to struggle with that. I think the other thing too was dollar amounts that had been discussed. I know one of the judges had expressed to me, are you bringing the juveniles back? And that was, I think, one of the original goals that had been talked about was everybody would be back to our county or community, and the juvenile piece is not here, even though we're looking at 50, 60, $70 million. So I guess I still sit in the same spot that I would struggle with this. And then the other thing was just getting the reports from Indiana Department of Correction and for the last 2 years. And I saw no violations that were there with our current jail. And also we've got the report of inspection from the Indiana Department of Homeland Security, Fire Prevention and Building Safety Commission dated April 22nd, 2026 for our jail. No violations found. The commissioners, I think, rightly instituted a resolution that if we were at 274, that any and all prisoners over that amount were supposed to be shipped out of our county. And the council is to pay for that. And so that is attempting to circumvent the overcrowding issue, the issue as far as the condition of the jail. I would think one of those two state agencies would have brought it up if there was an issue with our jail. So I guess as I'm looking at it, I look at the need, and the need that I've heard mainly has to do with capacity. And again, I've talked to, a local member of the judiciary and said, don't build a new jail because of the capacity, because we need to work on that as a team, as a group, a collaborative effort that the community needs to help resolve, potentially using these opioid funds. I think that could open a door to helping to relieve our overcrowding issue. We've opened up a referee court. We did that last May, we haven't necessarily seen dividends from that right away. Earlier this year, we also adopted a pre-trial home detention program, and we can have up to 30 inmates who would otherwise serve in our jail who would actually be at home on detention. Maybe next month would be a good time to update and find out how many people are on that program. But again, that was a program trying to reduce our inmate population. And at the same time, people who have maybe gotten on the wrong side of the law, they could maintain their jobs that way and also still be a parent to their children as opposed to being locked up in our jail. I think these are the types of programs that we need to be doing so that somebody doesn't unplug from society and get locked up in a jail. The Hancock County Jail, I was happy to tour it. It's a beautiful facility. The thing that struck me, though, was that before they built that jail, they had 325 people in the jail, and now that they've built the jail with a 400 plus capacity, they have 275 in the jail. So implementing programs and things, again, that collaborative effort can drive that population down. And once you've built it, the payments aren't going to go away. So this $138 million in payments is going to be there, and it's not going to go away. So again, I just circle back that if we work on saving this, the 1.1 million doesn't go out of our county, and it's actually saved, and it's in our budget. And now hearing that the 0.2 lit is part of the 1.2, it starts reducing the relief valve that we would have. And we still have our 911 call center that's going to fall back on our plates. We've got courts that might be coming back to us or we're gonna have to pay to keep them out of our county budget. So there's just a lot there, in my opinion. I guess I'm kind of summarizing kind of where I'm at. Jim McCourt, you're smiling there. I don't know if you have anything to add.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to add in this whole discussion.
Yeah.
You know, and we've talked about most of it over the time, the months we've dealt with this. And, you know, going through this whole period of time, I'm back and forth on what my thoughts are, because I think at some point, and we haven't really been able to determine exactly when that's going to be, I'll concede that, we're going to have to replace this building. And it's not going to get any cheaper when we do it. Okay, it's going to cost whatever the number is at that point. The one concern that comes into play with the facility is the size. You know, what is the number we really need? And at this point, it's like 360, it looks like it. But I don't know if we've seen a reduction of 30 people since they started the pretrial home detention piece. Do you know anything about that at all?
I don't. That's why I said we'll ask for an update maybe next month.
We don't know the impact of that yet, but theoretically at least, there should be 30 less in the jail if there are 30 people that qualify for that service. And we assumed they would be, or we wouldn't have put it in place.
Right.
Okay. So that should help. But then also we were always concerned about if you give them that reduction, they're going to fill it in with somebody else. So we're going to be back where we were before there's that, you know. And obviously if we put 469 beds in place, we don't want 469 people in those positions because we can't afford them. The meals, the medical, all those kind of things add up. So would it happen that way, or would we keep it at the 350, 360 range of actual inmates and have the space we want to have to rehab and treat and all those kind of things that we've talked about? So there's a lot of variables in this whole situation that make it difficult for us. And I've made some notes here. I don't know, obviously we're facing a difficult decision. There are a lot of factors we've talked about. And part of that is the efficiency and effectiveness of our current system. Are we doing what we should be doing to make that the best it can be? The uncertainty of how long our current jail is going to last. And then, of course, the financial impact on our constituents and what's it going to be when we actually make a decision. All those are variables that come into play, but we don't know answers to all of it. The financial piece we know based on what the numbers are. You know, there are some uncertainties as far as how much will the Sheriff's Administration Office cost, maybe some utility type things, but overall we know basically what the number is at this point. Contingencies will probably drop it down some from where it is now, I think, based on what our presentations have been. Yeah, and another thing, we can discuss and implement changes to try to improve the system. We've talked about that a lot in our sessions with the judiciary members and all those kind of things too. It's good to have that conversation, and hopefully we'll see some good things come from that. But those are things we don't control. We as the council members, we don't control those. So we're up to, our constituents are up to the mercy, so to speak, of how those people perform their jobs and how they determine who and how many are going to be put in the facility we provide for. So a lot of things we can't control there other than try to be involved in the conversation to improve things. And I think with us 7 members here, we have a lot of opinions on where we should go with this whole process. I mean, some of us are going to be this end, some are going to be at this end, there'll be some in the middle. So it's a difficult situation. And I respect the fact we've been able to talk about it openly. We've discussed all those situations. Our opinions have been able to be voiced. I mean, that's what the process should be. We should be able to talk about it and respect whatever those positions are. You know, we may disagree, but our governmental process allows this process to happen like that. So we should be able to talk about the pros and cons and our opinions and respect each other when it's done, even though we may disagree with what the final result is. And I will say this, no matter what we do, even if it's nothing, we're going to have people in our favor, we're going to have people against us. There's no way, I'm not sure how many people in this room are thinking that way, but as citizens of Grant County, you're going to have people on both sides of the table and in the middle. So we can't win when it comes to the final decision. We have to do what we think is best representing the people of this county. And it's not easy. Okay, we've been elected to do that, but it's not an easy situation. And hopefully whatever we decide, the people, even if they disagree with us, understand, hey, we did do the process the way it was intended. And this is the result of what it was. You may not like it. You may like it. The bottom line is we went through the process that was intended. Okay. You know, I think that no matter what we do, our taxpayers, our constituents are going to be impacted on a short-term basis and on a long-term basis, no matter what we do. If we do nothing, at some point in the long term, it's going to cost them. We don't know how much yet, but it's going to cost them something. We do something now, in the short term, it's going to cost you something as well. So we don't know the full impact of that. We're sitting here without crystal balls, but we're trying to make the best decision we can with the facts that we have available to us. Okay? So no matter what we do, there are pros and cons, and there are costs both ways. Okay? I imagine probably in my mind, the easy decision is probably do nothing now, see what happens, let it wash out. That's probably the easy decision, but that's going to cost you something at some point. You don't know when, maybe, but it's going to cost you at some point, and how much, we don't know. But no one wants to do a tax. None of us wants to put any more burden on the taxpayer. I think that's a fair statement. But we also realize we have a responsibility to fund what we're required to fund and provide. And then how do you do that, and to what extent you do it becomes, that big question of how you decide what's best. So obviously, if it comes down to a vote, then I'm going to vote one way or another, I'm sure. But bottom line is, I think regardless of what we do, you could argue pros and cons on any one of the other options. I hope our people understand that, I guess. I'm sure people have their viewpoints, and they're probably set on that somewhat. But what I like when I come to a situation like this, I want to be as objective as I can. I want to be as informed as I can, being able to weigh the pros and cons. And sometimes you can do that easier than other times. And this one's more difficult because there are some things we really don't know, and there's some things we can't control, that if we could control it, it would make it easier.
Sure.
Okay. So hey, those are my comments for now. So.
Mr. President, would you like a motion?
Sure.
I'll make a motion to reject option 1, 2, and 3, and have no bail, new jail at the present time.
All right. So you're making an option. Your motion is to reject options
1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, and 3, and have no new construction of a jail facility at this time.
Yes.
All right. So we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Scott. We have a motion and a second. I guess we'll open it up for comments from the council.
I would ask a question on that.
Yes, sir.
Let's say we do nothing, we reject all options. What happens next? What are we going to do? What's the result of that? No options, or no rejecting all options at this point.
I mean, to me personally, it allows the judiciary to get involved. I think it allows the treatment component to kick into place. I think we're starting to see the programs are working, because right now we have 35 inmates that's out of county. I think some of the decisions that we've made already is going towards that. The $1.1 million that we spend every year is a relatively new expense. To me, it's not a savings because it's a relatively new expense. Prior to 4 years ago, we never expended those dollars to send inmates out of county. If these programs are working, do we get back to the way that it was prior to 4 years ago, or prior to when we started to spend the $1.1 million?
What was it, 2021, where we saw that big spike?
Saw that big spike, and a lot of it was COVID related and coming out of that.
But is it really? Because it's still there, because it's still there.
Right. To me, and again, my background is counseling, and it's not a lot of this. It's in criminal justice, right? Professionally, I've been in the field. Academically, I've been in the field as well. To me, I feel like that there's a lot more that we could be doing that's going to address the jail population. And to me, I'm a firm believer that it's going to be in mental health, and it's going to be in drug addictions, and finding treatment programs that's going to be helping. Most of us out here has somebody that has dealt with drug addictions. And if you haven't, thank God that you haven't had to, because to watch a family member go through that, man, it's rough. It's rough. And there's things that we can put in place that's going to address those needs. We just saw on Facebook one particular individual, you probably know from the Fairmount area, that just seems to get arrested over and over and over. And they talk about the mental health, and there's no help for that person. The help is out there. The programs are out there, and I think when we address those programs, I feel would make a change. And 3 years from now, if it doesn't, then they can point the finger at me and say, Mike, you're wrong. And that's fine, because I'm willing to take that on and address it and see what happens. The other side of it is I worry about the fact that we are one of the highest taxed counties in the state of Indiana. And for me, from this seat, maybe all I should look at is county related, but I don't. And I want people to understand. I look at the fact that Mississinawa and Oak Hill are currently having referendums, and probably other schools, because as you know,
They all will eventually.
because that's their only way to increase revenues.
Under current situation, they will eventually.
That's a tax increase, right? Of some sort. Utility rates are increasing. Assessed value is increasing. I looked at my assessed value over the last 10 years. For whatever reason, from years 6 through 10, it was like less than $20,000 my house increased in assessed valuation. In the last 5 years, it's like $100,000 that it's increased. I mean, what has happened? I mean, we're doing really good things in Gas City. I'm proud of Gas City to be in Gas City. That's a heck of an increase.
What your net tax dollars doing though? Is it going up the same percentage?
No.
See, because there's a lot of things have changed as far as deductions and all this kind of thing. So your tax bill probably has not gone up like that.
Oh yeah, but my tax bill's went up.
That percentage,
Well, not that percentage. It's still going up. My assessed valuation has went up incredibly. And those are all things that continues to be a burden on all of us in this county, let alone the inflation and everything else that we can talk about. I mean, to me, enough is enough. We have to figure something out. And if we keep the lit tax in place over the next 10 years, we have a $30 million cash bucket that we can put towards a new jail project. And for me, if we have an infusion of cash that we can put in the project, to me, that's a common sense approach.
As long as that infusion doesn't get eaten up by inflation costs of building it.
Of building it. And to me, when I hear those things, it's all relative to current situations, right? Because we can argue we should have done this 10 years ago because it would have been cheaper, right? But that net effect is still going to be the same 10 years ago what it would have cost us to 10 years from now. Most of us hopefully are making a little bit more money. We're going to be in different situations. That net effect, I don't think, is going to change that much more. Yes, the materials and things are going to be cost more, but our incomes are also going to be going up as well. I look at that as not that big of an argument.
I think we'd all like to see whatever programs get implemented by our system to reduce the number of people we have as inmates. No doubt, we'd all love to see that. And hopefully that will happen. But then that question aside, then the next question becomes the facility itself. Let's say even we have 274 now. Let's say 274 is adequate. At what point are we going to have to replace that 274 facility?
Oh, it's down the way. Eventually,
and that's
somebody beyond us is going to have to probably make those decisions. But let's not forget. I mean, when we're talking statistics, we're the second highest in the state in poverty. I mean, every statistic that we look at is leaning against us. And I was president of the board of the Boys and Girls Club years and years ago. David, you were with me as well, trying to address these issues. It is socioeconomics in this county, and it was so difficult to get people involved even back then to address that issue, and we're still in the same position today. We kick the can down the road. We don't worry about it. The programs are out there. The programs are out there where they are having success in dealing with addictions and mental health and issues related that we have in Grant County.
Why haven't our people put those in place?
I don't know.
I can't fix that. I can't fix that. People that are in that profession have to do it. This body can't fix that, but somebody's got to do that.
Yep.
If it's out there.
So I don't know, maybe it's in our position to have to force that a little bit more. I mean, from what I'm hearing, I'm hearing some positive things within the judiciary, the criminal justice system of people coming on board and addressing these issues. And there's probably people out here that have ideas as well. So for me, that's where I'm at. I don't think we're in a position. I don't think we can afford a new jail right now. I think that there are things that we can look at, examine, put into place that's going to have a bigger impact than what this is. Sorry, Margaret.
Those are important things to voice. I mean, like I said, those are some things that some we can control, some we can't control. And some of those are opinion type things and we wish and hope, but is it going to happen? We don't know that at this point. So
we don't know.
I mean, you need to try, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So if this body does vote moving forward with any project, where do we go from here? Is this body willing to spend more money on out-of-county inmates? We have to be willing to, if we're not going to go forward with any type of project, we need to have some kind of solution in the meantime, right?
I'm not advocating this at all, but one thing I went and addressed that at $40 a day, we could send out 320 inmates out of this county and still be cheaper than building a brand new jail.
That's the cheapest option by far.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it doesn't solve our problem.
It doesn't help. It creates other problems down the road.
It's a catch-22.
But to me, the new jail's not the answer. We can build the treatment facilities.
We'll never be able to afford a new jail.
We have an open building. We have the newest and empty building over here that we can put our programs in and utilize that space. To me, I think it's worth giving it a shot. And again, 3 years from now, we come back and say, Mike, you were wrong. You're an idiot. You had to know what you're talking about, and you're 100% wrong. I'll own that.
Did what?
Yeah, they were back to, what are we going to do?
And obviously, one of those variables that comes into this whole discussion, that I don't like this piece of it, is that once you decide to do it now, you've locked those dollars into place for a long time. I mean, you've done it. I don't like that thought now either. I know at some point, this body's going to have to do that. I don't know when that year's going to be where it's a must, but it could be now, it could be 10 years from now. I don't know that for sure. But making that decision to lock it in for long-term, 25, 30 years is a tough decision. There's no doubt that it is big money. But it is this body's role to somehow decide what that facility is going to be and how, to what level it's going to be.
And coming out of it, if it goes that way, maybe we establish a criminal justice subcommittee. When I was president years ago, we established one. We addressed bond schedules, and we made great headway in those bond payments and the bond schedules. Maybe we come out of it by getting everybody together and figuring out. Now we know the direction we're going, what we can afford. Now let's put our heads together and figure out how we're going to make this happen. How are we going to make the addiction, the treatment programs happen with what we have right now? I don't want to hear, well, it's never worked before, right? That is very common in Grant County. How are we going to make it happen? We need to do it for those people that's been affected by it.
If we build a new jail, it don't be 3-4 years before any of them programs can be implemented in the new building.
In fact, we don't address the issue that we have right now, right? I mean, there's things in this county that's taking place that a lot of us don't realize how bad it is. It is a scary, scary world out there.
I don't know if anybody else has any comments on the council. If not, then I'll open it up to public comment. And we will allow for public comments. Please state your name and address, and each speaker is going to be limited to 2 minutes. And please no personal attacks or anything like that. And with that, hearing nothing else from the people, I'll go ahead and open it up.
All right. Sheriff Doug Garcia. I'd rather not give out my address.
Sure.
401 South Adams Street.
Yeah, there you go.
Just a couple things. First of all, and I agree with Councilman Scott about the tax burden on the citizens of Grant County. What I would ask, not as a sheriff, but as a taxpayer, if you're not going to do this, then I would ask for you to rescind that increase so that I can get my tax money back instead of it going into some bucket So I would ask for that. Now, as a sheriff, I would say, and I would disagree with you in stating that this isn't a new problem. This problem has been going on for over 20-some years, the issue with overcrowding. And I know people have tried to put it on me, was the sheriff. It hasn't been going on since Sheriff Garcia's been here. Well, I've been here 3 years, not 20 years. Some of you council members have been on here longer than that. So it's a problem that we would never address. And I agree with you that we do need programs. But I want to remind the public we have a plethora of programs. We have drug court. We have mental health court. We have veterans court. We have probation. We have pretrial release where people are let go. It's not a shortage of programs. Here's the way I look at it. It's just my opinion, and I agree with Councilman McWhirter. Everybody has their opinion, and we shouldn't get mad at each other. I'm not going to be mad whatever decision you make, because you do have the hardest decision to make. I have the easiest decision, and that's just give you information. But I look at it as a three-legged stool. The judiciary, the programs, and then the jail. And I think where we've failed is we've always done a good job with programs. And if I stated in the past, when we start new programs, you'll see the jail population decrease, but then you see it go back up. So we're doing a better job with the judiciary and starting to get cases there. But I think the missing piece of the puzzle is that we've never built a jail suitable to the needs of the county. And I think that's why we're seeing this issue actually since this jail was built. I don't know if you guys remember in 1981 when this jail was built, Sheriff Riggs brought people over here. After the first day, he said, we're halfway full. In 1984, then Sheriff Mowry said, we need to start building because we're overcrowded. In 1995, they built. By 1997, guess what? Overcrowded again. So we keep building because I don't think we've ever built a jail that's suitable to our needs. And I'm not saying we build a big jail just to put people in it. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is we need to build something that's suitable to our needs, that we can meet your goals. Rehabilitation. Right now, we can't do it. We have no space. Today, we had 326 total inmates. We have 274 beds. We can't even classify people. We have to put people with minor charges, misdemeanor charges in with people that are murderers, that are dangerous felons, because the only way that we can classify people right now is by a no-mix list. So Johnny doesn't get along with Bob, so we can't have Johnny and Bob in the same cell block.
Sheriff, I'd be happy to have you at a community corrections meeting. We can do that discussion.
But I would like for permission for a little bit more time. And I think it's important.
We're almost at 4 minutes.
Well, I understand that, but I think it's important that the people at least hear from their elected sheriff on the issues with the jail. I mean, I think, I know you guys, I've been doing this job for 31 years.
I know. I think they get to hear it on your podcast though, too.
So,
I mean, because that's out there.
But so you're not going to give me any more time?
I've given you 4 minutes, so I've given you double the public's time, and we'll certainly have you back next month. And because we're going to be talking about the opioid settlement fund and your coordinator.
And next month might be too late, because if you're going to vote today.
Right.
May I ask you a question?
Yes, certainly.
You said 326 inmates. Is that in our facility there, or that includes out of
That's
county?
total. That's total.
Okay, that's out of county. Okay.
Yeah, that's total.
All right. That's what I wanted to clarify that.
Well, thank you for the extra time. And as I stated before, you guys definitely have the toughest decision to make, and whatever you make, we're going to move forward and we're going to do our best to get that population down.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, gentlemen. Michael Duke, Grant County, out on East Bradford Pike. I agree with Mr. McWhirter. There are a lot of things to say. I have a lot of things I'd like to say too, and the public discourse and discussion is, what I might not say here right now, I'm sure there are probably several other people out here in the audience that will say other ideas. But what I will comment on is that in all these discussions that I've observed and addressed is that I hear people running to option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4, option 5, build this, renovate that, add to this. I have not heard the focus of a discussion on establishing a preventive maintenance program to maintain, rehabilitate, correct, and upkeep the existing jail. Mr. Brankel, Mr. Kitts, you're informing. Mr. Middlesworth, you're informing. You don't buy a new combine and run it into the ground just to pay out another $250,000, $300,000 in 3 years. You generally are going to do preventive maintenance on that combine to try to keep it running as long as you can and sell it or trade it in for a value at some point. Why aren't we doing that? Why aren't we having that discussion related to the building next door here that we call the jail?
Mr. Duke, that'd be your time. But thank you.
That's my.
Appreciate your comments.
Like I say, I have some other things I'd love to say, but other folks may.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, council members. My name is Jack. I am 11 years old. I know I'm just a kid, but I always know that the decisions you make today will affect my future more than yours. I've heard that the county is thinking about spending $7 million on a new jail. That's a lot of money. I can't even imagine how many books, parks, teachers, playgrounds, and programs that kind of money could help pay for. When I think about my future, I don't dream about having a bigger jail. I dream about living in a community where people get help before they end up behind bars. Some people in jail aren't just bad people. They're struggling with mental illness, addiction, or really hard situations. If they had someone to talk to, counseling, treatment, or support before things got worse, maybe they wouldn't end there after all. What if we used the money to help people instead of waiting till they're already hit rock bottom? What if we gave kids, families, and the community hope? What if we made our community healthier and a better mental state instead of making a bigger place to lock up people? I know I'm only 11, but I know that helping people is better than giving up on it. Please think about the kids like me when you make this decision someday. I will be the one raising a family here. I'll be paying taxes. I'll be living with the choices you make today. Please don't spend my future on a bigger jail. Spend it on people getting a second chance, supporting mental health, and helping with addictions, and building a community where fewer people need a jail in the first place. Thank you for listening.
Hello, good evening. My name is Linda Kitts, 4643 Northbrook Drive in Marion. And I'm not going to tell you how old I am, like the young man before me. But I would like to say that I sell real estate, and I have for 25 years. And new people coming into my community, to our community, have never asked the question, how old is your jail? Or how many prisoners do you have in your jail? They are concerned about quality of life issues, as that young man mentioned. For children, the parks, I can talk about how many city parks that have disappeared. And where do the children go to play basketball anymore? There's maybe a couple places. And Matter Park did come up with a new one, etc. But I think we need to spend our tax dollars on the citizens, the ones that pay taxes. And like he suggested, we need to rehabilitate our prisoners. I have talked to a lot of them. They would be willing to do that. They need help. They ask for help. And the addictions, they don't know how to get the help. and I'm finished before you cut me off. Y'all have a great evening. Thank you.
Hello, gentlemen. My name is Connie Newby. I live on 300 East in Grant County. I've been a teacher for 1,000 years and remember some faces here. As a school teacher, when I started here, there were 24 elementaries in Marion. How many do we have now? 4. I spent most of my career, all of my career, at Justice Junior High, middle school, whatever you want to call, whatever they're calling it now. Anyway, when I started at Justice, we had 4 counselors, not 4 people that fill out their schedule, but 4 people that worked with the young children. My husband is one of them, and he's worked with you, I know, Pal Club and other places. What we have now in our schools, 0 licensed counselors. And that is a shame. So and Ms. McWhirter, you know the school's financial situation. It's getting worse. So I am here to say I agree with the fact not build a new jail. We need to help the sheriff expand his work as far as helping children. We need to help the school system with funds as much as we can. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Bill Creech. I'm from Marion. And I just, a couple of things. I really appreciate what you guys did in considering all the different, taking a whole approach of looking at it from just building this jail option, this jail option, this jail option, and kind of pausing a little bit just to sort out, the effectiveness of all the programs. Go to these meetings here in the county and the city, and you hear, we're going to give this organization this much money, we're going to give it this much money, we're going to give it this much money. We need to really measure the effectiveness of those programs, and hopefully that can do. And like you said, maybe I'm wrong, but we need to kind of help figure out what it is. The only other thing that I would say, maybe consider, if you do put a pause on it, and I heard some people say pay more on the principal of the new jail, why not pay off the old jail? Pay the old jail down while you're on pause. And just, maybe that's not, you can't do that, but I would say pay that down, wipe that debt clear, evaluate your programs, and then go forward. And I think what Mr. Duke said about a comprehensive maintenance program, all that inclusive in the overall program, I think would be very well spent time putting that all together, a comprehensive plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Ed Hartman. I'm in the Fairmount area, 2640 East, 1050 South. I've spoken to you many times before, and one thing about the jail project is it's very difficult for us to afford this and take care of our other buildings and keep good equipment out on the road for our officers, first responders. I've seen a lot of county council meetings where you guys have struggled over buying new ambulances, new cars, new trucks, highway equipment, fixing up buildings, maintaining what we've got. There's a lot of things. This is putting a lot of money in one spot if you go forward with the new jail project. And I think it's going to hamper you and make your decisions a lot more difficult to maintain what you've got and keep things going and provide the services that you do with the people that you've got and taking care of your people as well. Another thing to consider is, I heard we had about a 5% increase in income over the past few years. Well, remember this, just a few years ago, inflation rate was 9.1%. Right now it's 2.6. Now people got raises during inflationary times. May not seem like you're living better, but historically we tend to live a little better all the time. So as far as moving it down the road, even if you moved it down the road 10 years, by taking care of the buildings you've got the structure. There's no structural problems with the jail or the detention center. The detention center, like we said, newest building you've got, not using it. You need to be using it for programs and for separating people. If we've got misdemeanors in our jail and we can't separate them from someone who's committed murder, we got a problem we need to take care of.
Time, Mr. Herman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Looks like we have no one else with public comments. If not, we have a motion on the floor and a second. And just remind everyone that was to reject options 1, 2, and 3, and no new construction at this time. And so I think we should do this via roll call.
Hicks?
Yes.
Scott?
Aye.
Frankel?
No.
Connell?
No.
Kitts?
Aye.
Lemming? McWhort?
No.
4-3.
Yeah. I think the motion carries then to reject those options. Next item on our agenda, we have old business. I don't know if anybody had any reports or resolutions, communications, general discussion, anything like that. If not, we have.
Let me mention.
Yes.
Absolutely. There's a process. I guess I'll use the word process. The must meetings.
Yes.
That aren't musts. I mean, they're recommended. And even AIC is recommending we have those, but they aren't required.
Yes.
We have one that has to be done by October 1st, I believe. There's still some things up in the air. I just want to make sure this body's thinking about that, if we want to do that or if we don't. I know we've had 2 towns inquire about it.
Yes, we did.
Converse and Upland, I believe, inquired. So we need to be thinking about how we want to proceed.
Is that a requirement?
No, the county council kind of establishes that with all the other units, all the other towns and cities involved, okay? But it's not required. My point to the AIC is.
Meeting has been adjourned. Can the gallery please quiet so we can hear?
She didn't argue, but at this point, the new income tax system didn't come into effect until 29. So that means the summer of 28, we'd have to make up the decisions to get 29 ready. And of course, that may change, but as of now, it's what it is. So I'm thinking, why are we doing this now? It's 2 years, so let's take some effect. Well, I think the General Assembly wants to hear some feedback. Cities and towns are obviously interested in that. In the county's position, I feel like we're in a position with the current limits they put in place that if they hold, we're able to recover and do the break-even type thing. Not everybody's in that position, probably. So there's some reasons for others to be concerned about that and want to meet about it. What we have to decide is if we want to have one of those meetings, and if so, get the process started, schedule it, and who we're going to have, run it, and all those kind of things. So, anyway, I just wanted to make sure we're thinking about that.
Right. And maybe, we'll talk about it, have discussions, and at the end of the day too, it's up to the council.
Yeah.
I mean, so it would take 4 of us to say yes, let's have those meetings.
And obviously, if you have the meetings, nothing has to be agreed upon at that point.
Right.
But if it is agreed upon, the state wants to know about it, I guess. Right. So anyway, we need to be thinking about it and see if we want to proceed. And AIC's suggestion is you don't have, if you do have one, not to have it until maybe toward the end of August or September. Okay. Is what they would suggest if we have one, because there'll be more information available, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I want to point that out, yeah.
And it could be something too where we may want to have a meeting just to have open lines of communication with everybody and let them know what we know and things like that. That way people aren't uneasy with the fact that we didn't talk to them.
And I can see towns really being interested because they don't have a provision of establishing their own rate. Cities, if you're over 3,500, you can establish your own rate up to the limits.
Yeah.
The towns are, I guess, relying on the counties to be on their behalf, so to speak, if we do something there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense that they'd be concerned about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Upcoming meeting dates, regular session, Wednesday, August 12th, public hearing, budget. Start the budget next month, August 19th, August 20th, August 26th, and August 27th.
Yeah, notice that August 12th is a week earlier than normal. That's the second Wednesday, not the third.
Yes.
You say August 19th.
August 19th, budget.
Yeah, that's
August 12th, so we're going to.
August 12th, yeah, 1 week sooner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Regular meetings 1 week sooner. We've always, we've done it for a long time.
Yeah, he's been here, so.
He's been through that a couple times.
Time or two.
Couple times, yeah. All right, well,
He slept since then.
yeah.
Getting older, I said.
Nothing else on our agenda. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So we have general public comments.
Normally we don't. We just have them right here with the jail project. Anybody that could have commented does, but it's not. We don't. So, yeah. Ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Scott. Thank you, Mr. Hicks. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.